Hello internet, this is Liddy Alvarez. If you don't know me, nice to meet you and welcome to my channel. And if you already know me, then welcome to my channel. So in this video, I'm going to talk about something that is really close to my heart. It's a video that I wanted to make for a long time. It's a long time coming, and something kind of pushed me to actually make it like now this month. And this is a subject and this is something that I've wanted to talk about for a long time, and I just think that it was a long time coming, and the passing of a very special person kind of pushed me into like, listen, you just have to get this message out there and, you know, put out some positivity into the world, and you know, this information is going to help a lot of people. So I was like, why not? Let's do this. So earlier this month, September 2nd, to be precise, Claire Wineland passed away. If you don't know who she is, I'm going to leave a link down below so you get to know who she is. She was just a beautiful soul overall, but she was a very, very sick girl. And despite having this illness, which was terrible, she had this amazing, bright, positive outlook in life. And it was beautiful to watch. I had the opportunity to get to see most, if not all, of her videos and a lot of her speeches, which she gave to a lot of people. I've seen them in videos. I've never actually met her, but they had an impact on me, and I wanted to talk about that. May she rest in peace, and I have the most respect for this woman and what she stood for, and I can't imagine what her family must be going through, but I just have to talk about it because she was such a beautiful soul, and her message was so loud and so beautiful and so bright that I just think more people need to be talking about it. So basically, to kind of summarize it, it's the fact that you can be sick and you can be happy at the same time. That you might be suffering and you might be in pain and you might be not be able to sleep and you might feel horrible, but you can be happy. And that's quite a difficult concept to grasp. For most people, you can only be happy in a healthy state when you have certain things, when you don't have economic problems, when you don't have this, when your life is basically all set up and everything looks perfect, and you have a nice family and you have this and you have that. So a lot of people have different definitions to what being happy entails. Some people might be happy because they have the career that they love, or because they're doing the job that they want, or because they have a beautiful family and that's all they've ever wanted in life. So everybody has a different definition to what they think or what their idea of happiness is. When you get sick, that changes. You learn to love every single thing about every single aspect of life. When you're in pain, you get in tune with your body. You understand it's suffering. You do what you can to make it better. And by that I mean whether that is taking the appropriate medicine or taking, you know, a warm bath or putting some nice music or something, and you find ways in order to make any situation better. And overall, I think that happens with everybody. When you're having, a bad day, you're just, looking for ways in which to, feel better and kind of better the situation. And the same thing happens when you have a chronic illness. I know that I have no control over how I'm going to feel tomorrow. I know how I feel right now, and I know what's, the things that I have to do in the next couple of days. But I have no control over what my body is going to feel like tomorrow. And that's really hard to understand and to get accustomed to. For the first, I would say, couple of months of the disease, that was very hard for me. I didn't know how to handle it. I was constantly sad and I cried and I didn't understand why. And there are points in your life where you feel like that, and you don't have to have a chronic illness to feel desperate, to feel like you have no control over what's happening and kind of feeling defeated a little bit. But you can be happy through it all. And through my disease, I've seen my family get more united. There are a lot of positive things that have happened. I'm not saying every single person in my family understands. That's not what I'm saying, because a lot of them really don't. But my illness has brought to light more healthy options, more healthy solutions, supplements that my grandparents take right now that are, making their life better. And it has brought a lot of positive through the negative. And that is what I choose to look at. It has also made me have a more close relationship with God. And I never imposed my religion or what I believe in onto anybody. I don't think that that is the right way to believe and to love God, to kind of, shove my beliefs into any other person. That is not what I think is right. I think everybody has, their opinion, their way of looking at life, and that is completely fine. But for me, having a relationship, or of a closer relationship with God, kind of just made my life a whole lot better. And that is just my opinion, that's just my experience, and it has just helped me deal with my disease so much more. Knowing how vulnerable life is and how your life could change in 1 second. And this does not have to do with any chronic disease. It just has to do with life in general. 1 second and your life could be, completely different to the life you have now. And that doesn't mean like in a bad way. It just means change. And more people, or people in general, are afraid of change. It's like you don't know what to expect. You don't have control over what's happening. And change is hard for most of us. It's really hard. And for me in particular, it was very hard. And learning to have a new life and to deal with limitations and all of that, it was really hard at first. But then it's not that you accept, but you get used to the fact that this is your life. And you have a choice whether you live with this and you decide to be happy, or whether you live with this and you decide to be miserable. Like, there's a choice to be made. And I choose to be happy. And yes, I'm going to have bad days, and yes, I'm going to have sad days, and yes, I'm going to have hormonal days, and yes, I'm going to have, really painful days, but that doesn't mean that my life isn't happy. And that's kind of a hard concept to grasp. It's like you're like dying in pain. You can barely walk. You're hunched over because your back hurts so much, and you're happy. How does that work? And it's a really hard concept to explain, because you're going through this and you don't understand why, because I don't understand why, but I know that God has a better plan, and that's just what I think and what I believe in. You can totally believe in something different. That's fine. I'm just stating like what I think, and I just think everything has a purpose, and that's what I believe in. And I choose to accept my situation, and I roll with it. I take care of my body, and I choose to be happy. And I see happy in little things, like my back hurts, but I have this amazing heating pad, and I choose to be happy when putting my heating pad on my back, because my back hurts so much, and that makes it so much better. And while doing that, I'm watching a YouTube video, or I'm listening to a song I love, and I am enjoying life in the situation that I have to go through, or where I am at right now, and that's okay. You might not be able to understand it, you might not be able to empathize with it, you might not be able to see yourself in my shoes and enjoy the same things as I do, but we're all different people, and we all choose and do things that make us, different in who we are, and that's fine. But don't ever think that because somebody else is going through a struggle, or they have an illness, or because they have some limitations, that their life is miserable, or that they're sad, or that they aren't happy in the life that they're living. Because, at least in my case, from my experience, we are happy through anything that we go through. And I choose to be happy through every aspect of my life, whatever the situation is. I will find a way. And most people, that is what they do. And they might not be able to put it into words, because it's not as easy to explain. And it hasn't been easy to explain to you guys, but I hope that my point is getting across, because I'm trying to do my best to kind of explain my trail of thought, or what my mind does, or what I do in order to choose happy, and in order to have the best life that I can have. And I hope that that point is getting across. But everybody is different. People have different things that make them happy, and they have different standards of what they think will make you happy. But just know that because we have an illness, because we're going through struggles, because of hard circumstances, because of pain, because of all the symptoms, because of whatever it is, that doesn't define who we are. Our illness doesn't define us, or illness doesn't entail who we are. We are somebody completely different to the disease we're living with. It's like having somebody else living with you, and you have to deal with the consequences and the symptoms of what that illness makes you go through. But you're a completely different person from that illness. You're not that illness, and it's hard to make that separation. It's hard to take yourself away from the person that is ill and separating that from who you really are. And that is super important to understand. You're not the disease, and you're a completely different person that feels, that wants different things. And you can be completely happy with who you are while dealing with all the consequences of the disease that you have, if that makes any sense. I hope that I'm, kind of making some sense here. But basically that's what I wanted to talk about. And Claire was such an amazing person at putting out exactly how happy she was despite of the life that she had to live since she was born. This is something that she had to live with for her entire life. It isn't something that she had an accident and she had to deal with the consequences of that. This is something she was born with. She never knew anything else. And she just knew that she was different because most people weren't at the hospital all the time. But she decided to be happy despite everything. She decided to find the beautiful and the ugly through the ugly. And that is just the most beautiful thing that I could ever see from anybody. Her life was just such a plus to this world and to the people living in it. And I just think we should look up to people like that and just learn that life isn't perfect. And despite whatever you may go through, you can be happy through anything. And it's just so beautiful. And I am so sad that the world has lost such a beautiful soul. But her message will live on forever. And I truly believe we should all learn from it, because it's just, I can't even, it's just so beautiful and so perfect. It's so, I mean, I can't even, but I hope that my message, that I got my message out, or what I wanted to say. It was kind of hard to explain, a little bit harder than what I thought it would be. But I hope with what I said, and the link I'll leave you down below to her channel, and just a small speech of what she preached and what she believed and how she lived her life, will make you understand kind of where I'm coming from if you couldn't get or grasp what I was saying through this video. But that's basically it. I am trying not to edit my videos because I want just everything to be documented. I think it's just better when you just speak your mind and everything comes up naturally, and editing sometimes kind of messes with it a little bit. Plus it consumes so much time. But I hope that you get what I was saying, or what I am saying, and I love you guys so much. And please leave your questions down below if you have any. I'll get to them as soon as I can. And I love you so much. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in my next video.